Okay, welcome to Discovery Dialogue. Today we are going to talk about the transition from fifth graders into middle school. I'm Mrs. Weller, assistant principal. We have Miss Medley, our social worker, and I have with me Miss Allison, our reading teacher in middle school, and she is going to go over some information. And at the end of her presentation, we will have, if anyone has any questions, we will open it up to questions. So right now, I'm going to share my screen. And we are going to turn it over to Miss Allison.
Hello, I'm Miss Allison. I'm the middle school reading teacher. So we're just going to go over some informational stuff about how the middle school is set up. So our middle school has 6 core classes. We meet on a modified block schedule. So we meet with each group of students 3 times per week. So our 6 core classes are composition, which is taught by Mrs. Bowman, reading, which is taught by me, Miss Allison, social studies with Mr. Frankowski, science with Mrs. Drew, math with Mr. Underwood, and project-based learning with Mrs. DeWitt. All of our students also attend 4 special classes that meet on a weekly rotation. So we have technology with Mrs. Frankowski, art with Mrs. Hanson, PE with Mr. Floyd, and music with Mr. Moeller. So the way that the middle school is run is each middle school student is assigned to a homeroom teacher at the start of the school year. Students report to their homeroom teacher each afternoon for study hall. In the morning from 8 to 8:10, first period teachers take attendance and lunch count before we start class at around 8:10. All students in a homeroom class travel together over the course of the school day. So they will attend all of their classes together. The homerooms may split for specials based on class sizes, since we have 3 classes going to each specials rotation and 4 specials classes. But otherwise, all of the homeroom students will travel together as one cohort throughout the day. So this is an example of our schedule that we're using this year for a block. The individual minutes might change a little bit from year to year based on specials and lunch schedules, but overall the rotation for Monday, Thursday would look like this. So students would see 3 of their classes. So we have all of our classes in the morning from 8 until 12:40. And then we have lunch recess. And then when the students get back, they are either in specials or study hall for the afternoon. So if you're looking at this Monday, Thursday rotation that we're using this year from 1:30 to 2:10, 8th grade and one of the 7th grade classes goes to specials, while the 6th grade and one of the 7th grade is in study hall. And then in that 2:20 to 3 o'clock block, we switch and have the other group attend specials while the others go to study hall. So the same thing happens on Tuesdays and Fridays. The students will just see their other 3 classes. And then on Wednesdays, we do not have specials. On Wednesdays, the teachers see all of their students. So on a Wednesday, I would see all 6 of my classes of students. So on a Wednesday schedule, we would have 5 classes in the morning, take a break for lunch recess, and then we would come back for 1 more class and study hall in the afternoon. It is slightly different on an early release day. On an early release day, the classes are just a few minutes shorter so that we can see all 6 of our classes before we head to lunch. And then as soon as the kids come in from recess, they would head straight for dismissal. So again, on Wednesdays, we do not have specials, but the middle school students rotate through their 4 specials classes. So they'll spend a week at a time in technology. For example, in each class. For example, week 1, they might have technology, week 2, art, week 3, PE, week 4, music, and then the rotation would start over. So over the course of a quarter, they would see each specials teacher for 2 weeks worth of instruction. Our students receive study hall every day except for early release Wednesdays. So students are in their homeroom class every day at study hall. This time is used to work on assignments and check in with teachers for help. Study hall is quiet work time, so everyone is able to concentrate and get as much of their homework done as possible. It's a great time for students to check in with teachers about grades or missing work. It's also a time where students might receive additional support throughout the building from other teachers. Middle school students also have open checkout in the library once a week during their study hall block. So they don't have a dedicated library lesson where the whole group goes down at once, but they have an open library time each week during their study hall. Students are supplied a locker and a padlock by the school. Personal locks cannot be used. This is just so that if a student is absent and we need to be able to get into their locker to get materials, textbooks, to send home with a parent, that we're able to get into all students' lockers. So every year the students are assigned either one tall locker or a top and bottom locker combination. They're expected to lock their locker daily to make sure that their materials are safe and no one else can get into their locker. All of their supplies must fit in their locker, so we just make sure that students aren't leaving things on the floor in the hallway. If they have larger equipment, say like a musical instrument, they will work out something with their homeroom teacher to coordinate storage so that things aren't in the hallway. Students who have a top and a bottom locker will be given one lock at the start of the year, but if a student wants a second lock to keep their other locker locked, then they can always ask for a second one. Locker cleaning takes place at the end of each semester, but we encourage students to check their lockers regularly and make sure that they're keeping them clean. Students have passing periods between each of their classes, 5 minutes between each class. Students use that time to get materials for their next class, go to the restroom, fill up water bottles. We try to keep hallway noise to a minimum because there are other classes in session during those times, so we want to make sure we're respectful of other classes in the building. Students at the beginning of the year are given agendas, and the back of their agendas are hall passes. So students are expected to bring their agenda to class every day to write down homework assignments, keep track of what they need to be completing each night. And then the hall passes in the back are permitted for the students to use one section per semester. So hall passes are things that are non-essential trips. So locker trips for classroom materials or snacks or water bottles that should have been retrieved during a passing period, restroom passes, drink passes. Teachers have discretion on when and if passes will be written to make sure that it's not a student missing out on a core piece of content while they're out of the room. Students are not penalized for errand passes to the nurse office or any emergency situations as assessed by the teachers. But we do this just to kind of keep track of how often students are leaving the room and making sure that they're making best use of their time throughout the day. The middle school discipline policy is a 3-strike policy. So first offense is a verbal warning. Second offense, parent contact and teacher's discretion. So this could be a change of seat, a recess detention, whatever makes sense for what the issue was to begin with. Third offense would be a conference with Mrs. Weller or another school administrator and a consequence. Our homework policy is that students should have all of their homework due on a specific day for a classroom teacher. Their agenda books and our class website is there to help students keep track of those dates. If homework is not turned in on that due date, then we use the following policy. So we say that all work will be accepted for full credit until the end of the unit for the class. The end date will be communicated by the teacher and posted on the middle school agenda page so that students are aware of when those deadlines come. After the unit has ended, then work can be submitted for 50% credit until the end of the quarter. At the end of the quarter, any work that's still missing would be entered as a 0 in the grade book. So the end of unit looks very different for each class. For composition class, it might be short. If it's a grammar unit, it might only be a week. If it's for a reading class and it's a novel, it might be 3-4 weeks. So students are just working to communicate with the teacher to make sure that they understand those deadlines. The middle school does have a shared website that all 6 of the teachers use together. You can access it through the Discovery Teacher page. On the site, you can find class-specific information such as overviews of our individual classes, teacher wish lists. But the website is mostly used for our homework page. This is updated daily with a list of homework assignments assigned by each teacher. We display this for students at study hall to reference. We put it up on our whiteboard so that students can look through their to-do list as they start to work on their homework. But it can also be accessed at home by students and by parents who want to check in with students on their homework. The homework page is refreshed at the beginning of each week, so it's important to check in with teachers if there's an absence or some sort of extended absence from class to see what the missing work is. We do have some extracurricular activities that our middle schoolers take part in. Some of the big ones this year have been comic book club, science Olympiad, art club, volleyball and basketball, archery, robotics, and math bowl. And that's kind of the overview for middle school, but I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not sure.
Thank you, Miss Allison. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, do not hesitate to reach out to Miss Allison or any of the middle school team or admin if you have further questions moving forward. Thank you for joining us today for our Discovery Dialogue. Have a great weekend. Bye.